Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the United Kingdom news and culture. And isn't there quite a lot of news coming out of the United Kingdom? I can't wait to discuss that and many other things. Let's welcome our panel. DIANN, FLOYD, BOEHM, hello.
Hi, great to see you.
Nice to see you too. Helena Chard, welcome.
Thank you. Hi. Hi to you both.
Hi.
Good to see you.
Simon MacDonald, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Lovely to be back.
Nice to have you. And Ian Pelham Turner. Hello.
I'm here.
Nice to see everyone. And I know the news is just coming in droves, and you have so much that you're working on over there. So thank you, as always, for taking the time to be with us today.
Bless you. I mean, it's always a joy to do this, and at the moment now, I was just looking at the current situation with the government in Britain, and now we had 41 people resigning from offices of the state in really to help to get rid of Boris Johnson. 41 ministers have now resigned.
Wow.
So, I didn't know there was that many ministers in Parliament.
There can't be many left.
What is the total number? Does anyone know?
In Parliament itself, there's 630 representatives, and the Conservative Party has an 80-seat majority. Well, it did. It's gone now down. I don't know what it is today. You know, I'm losing track of living at the moment by the hour with this political situation going on.
Wow.
What was it likened to sinking ships deserting the rat, I think, today.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of those things, Simon, that you ought to be glad you live in Scotland, because you know, trying to keep up with the mess that I had to talk about on another TV show a little while ago in England is, you know, as we were doing the show, we were having to increase the number of people resigning even during the show.
Yes, a wee word with Ian Blackford, our Scottish Nationalist Party leader in Westminster, and suggesting he should probably actually thank Boris Johnson, because the total reason he's given for independence in Scotland is something that perhaps Boris Johnson should be thanked for now. He's done a lot of damage in the UK recently, and it's very sad. He's made a bit of a laughing stock out of it, you know, when we're perfectly capable of doing that ourselves.
Yeah, you know. But I think there's a lot of royal news as well. I think Helena's got quite a bit of royal news today as well about different things that are happening at the.
I was saying earlier, I was trying to steer away, I think, from the political situation, because I think everybody just feels quite tarnished. Anything to do with Boris Johnson is a negative, and you know, I just cannot believe he can survive. But each day, you know, he stays in. It's just incredible, isn't it? So we want to move away from this, because it's not positive, and we need some positives. But I mean, I've got some snippets of news. I mean, I think I'm going to start with, because it always reminds me of my mother, is Wimbledon. So we're in the midst of Wimbledon, and I always get excited because when I was younger, my mum used to take a week off of work to watch Wimbledon. I have to say it hasn't been quite as exciting this year, and I think we've not done quite as well. I think some of the goodies that I thought were going to stay in were out straight away, which is slightly disappointing. But you know, it's always great fun, always lots of strawberries, always good weather, and so fantastic. I mean, we've got, I think it's Cameron Norris, his name is, and he got through the quarterfinal, 5 sets, great victory. And it was lovely to see the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and family absolutely roaring him on. Everyone was, I loved it. Everyone was so animated and not, you know how you can sometimes see people just sat there, but it really was, everyone was getting involved, and I'm thrilled. I think he was playing David Goffin, and I know that there was, I don't know his name, but there is an American player who's incredibly great. He knocked out Andy Murray. I don't know if anyone saw that match, and this, I can't remember his name, but he's like a machine, absolutely amazing, aces the whole way through. But anyway, I love Wimbledon, and when it comes on, it's like summer's truly here. So pleased to see that, and pleased to see everyone smiling. And I think, yeah.
I have a question about Wimbledon. My mom watches it day and night, but I'm just wondering, how do these celebrities, the A-list people, how do they get invited? Is it just there's so much room for people who've hit a certain level, or do they have to purchase tickets just like everyone else?
They have, I mean, there's lots of corporate invites as well, where people will buy up lots of tickets and then they'll invite whoever they want to. And of course, you've got the people that are more high profile. You've got the Royal Box, for instance. You have different boxes, so they'll invite whoever they want to invite. But if there's a ballot, I think, that's done, I don't know what point of the year. So you apply for tickets and you don't always get them. And if you don't get them, then you can rely on getting last minute tickets, which is what I was going to do. You can literally just turn up and buy returns and things. So yeah, it's exciting.
But you can also get a thing that there's a system called debentures. And debentures, I think you have to pay so much, if I remember rightly. But then I think it's a lifetime allowance, isn't it, for tickets if you buy debentures. I used to have to cover Wimbledon, this is going back in the days of steam radio. Nothing like we have today. But in those days, we used to wire the photographs, but we had underground tunnels underneath the courts where we had dark rooms and then wire rooms to actually do this. And it was the hottest thing you could ever possibly imagine, because the sun is beating down anyway, and then underneath as well, the heat was unbelievable. Where we used to sort of cover these major events. So I was very thankful when I was taken off sport and put into celebrities. Much nicer.
Do you play tennis, or does anyone here have they played?
Yeah. But I'm not usually brilliant. I'm okay.
So you're a tennis player. I thought that I remembered that. Yeah.
Yes, my tennis is like my golf. The handicap is the ball.
Ian?
Yeah, I used to. I'd like to. Obviously, I have a mobility problem these days as well, so that's probably why Helena wants to play me. Well, she's so competitive.
I am actually.
One day soon, you're quite right. We should get a tennis court. I will probably be battered to pieces with Helena's forehand drive, if there is such a manoeuvre in tennis anymore. But I used to love tennis. And when I used to, when we used to holiday in America, we only used to go to hotels where there were tennis courts. So the first thing in the morning, we could play our tennis, and then we would come back, have breakfast, orange juice, the full bit. Oh, it was wonderful.
Oh, great memories. Helena, what would your strategy be if you played Ian?
I don't think I can be honest here. I can't be honest. No, I'm not sure. I don't think
Probably hit me in the knees.
No, run you side to side, back and forth, dropping the ball over the net.
it'll be easy on you, don't worry.
Diane, have you played also?
I tried. I was terrible. I have 5 brothers. You'd think I'd be great at sports, but yeah, I'm horrible. I didn't like all that running around.
Well,
least
pickleball is
in
all the
baseball
rage
is-
over here.
Yeah, I know. So what can I say? But I love watching it. Absolutely love watching it. I'm like, ding, 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 ding.
I know. How about you, Dr. Jacqueline? Are you good?
I did play. I was co-captain of the tennis team in high school, and
Wow.
I actually got a scholarship to go to Gettysburg, but I didn't take it because the girls were mean to me. So I was playing up until probably, I don't know, 8 years ago, and I stopped because I didn't want to get injured. I thought if I get injured, then I can't do this, that, and the other. But my mom is still obsessed with it. It's on all day. We go from Roland Garros to Wimbledon to wherever it is. So it's a great sport.
It is a great sport.
Yes.
And I love like I said, I love watching the greats in Dubai. People come, there's a lot of things that go on to help prepare, I guess, people for Wimbledon. And I really hope I can come to England sometime and watch it there, because to me, being American, everything's about being in England and the Wimbledon. So.
Yeah. And, I'm so glad that you brought that up, Diane. Just a quick segue. I am coming to London. Yes, it's true. Yes. I'm coming for a week in November for the Woman of Heart Awards. So I hope that's, Simon, I don't know if you can come over, but Helena and Ian, I definitely hope we're going to get together.
Of course we will.
Yeah.
I think we should have a live broadcast, all of us together in the one room. It would be a riot.
That would be so much fun.
And I would wave from you from the other side of the pond.
Well, I thought it would be fun to interview you in person. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Defo.
That would be
Well,
awesome.
We've got our own studio. Well, not our own studio, but we got a new studio that we can use now, facility. So and it very comfortably sits 3 people. But 4 if they bring Smoke 7 down with them.
I see. I see. You're making the same sort of bid that the present or current Chancellor made to get his office, I take it. Yeah,
we have a comment from Irene, and I believe Irene is in, where are you? Uganda? Tell us where you are. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, she says something else. She says, hello, happy to be on the show. Thank you for watching us over on LinkedIn.
Thank
Beautiful.
you.
Okay, so I'll be chatting with you all about getting together. Super excited.
That is very exciting. Goodness. So
Yes.
Oh, well.
All right.
So I've got to dig up some smoked salmon then if I'm allowed a passport to get to London.
Don't dig it up.
Oh, well, I suppose that can be arranged, and we need a very nice bottle of wine to go with it.
Oh, well, I
Just one?
Just one.
Just one bottle of wine for 4 people?
Actually, okay, so what about champagne instead? Then that's fine. I think that would be the answer.
I think it's very exciting.
Very
So, Helen, I know you have more news, and we've got a couple of videos and some clips.
Well, I thought I'd just move on because obviously we were talking about Kate Middleton and Prince William, but it's really lovely to see a new photograph that's come out. So Camilla Parker Bowles commissioned Kate Middleton to shoot her portrait for a new magazine cover. So this is ahead of her 75th birthday. And the magazine is Country Life, and they are going to be celebrating 125th anniversary, which is amazing. And I have to say, I think it's lovely that they get on so well, Camilla and Kate. And I think Kate shot a lovely photograph of Camilla at her home in Wiltshire. And this is her, that's the photograph, which I think actually is a really lovely, lovely photo. And we were saying earlier, I actually do think that Kate, in a way, is underrated photography-wise. I think she is incredibly good, and I know she does a lot of the family photographs, which is a little bit of a bugbear, but she's good, you know. So that's good to see. So Camilla is going to be a guest editor on the magazine, and that's coming up really soon. But it's a lovely photo. What does everyone think? I could see that she was there holding her pelargoniums, just about to plant them. Being a plant lover and loving the outside, I think I just like the whole setup. But I think it's, you know, it's balanced. I like the angles, and I think she looks pretty in her blue outfit as well. What do you think?
She looks very young, actually, doesn't she?
It's very what?
Young.
Oh, I thought you said
young.
I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, lovely photograph. Lovely photograph.
She's
Brilliant
beautiful.
magazine as well.
She looks very young in the photograph. And is that what you call a trug?
Yeah, I think it is. A jug of what? Of pelargoniums.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I think you're right.
Now, I have a question for you, the professionals.
Are we talking in Old English, a truck?
I was going to ask, because I was going to say, does that mean basket?
That means basket, yeah.
Basket.
It's a particular basket that gardeners, I mean, what am I talking about? Helena knows all about this, you know.
I'm quite impressed. Carry on. That's good. I didn't think you knew about gardening.
I don't know anything about gardening, if I'm really honest, you know. I love sitting in gardens, and Helen and I were very lucky to be able to go to Buckingham Palace Gardens a little while ago. So just to name drop a garden.
Yes.
And it was absolutely spectacular on that particular day, a very warm day as well. And if you ever get the chance to go there, try the ice cream. It's wonderful.
What flavor?
Oh, there was all sorts of flavors. I had, I think I had toffee ice cream. So it was vanilla ice cream with toffee bits in it. And for me, that I could curl up and just eat a whole pot of it.
So instead of a bowl, you want a giant pot. I just want to clarify that for when you come visit.
Unfortunately, you know, as you can see by my rotund figure, that I find it very difficult to sort of say no to anything that has a sweet attachment to it, or a smoked salmon attachment to it. You know.
Now wait, Ian. Irene has a follow-up comment. A vessel, maybe Ian wanted to say this. Was the word vessel?
A vessel.
It could be a boat.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's very true.
Ian, just stick with a trunk full of ice cream. That would do fine.
The trug is well, Helena, it's a basket, but it's a particular basket that they put plants into. And just to name drop for a second, one of my friends once was at Windsor Castle, and he noticed that the Queen was in the garden doing some digging and putting some plants in herself in her personal garden, and she was carrying around this very heavy trug. And now normally it's not diplomatic to go up to the Queen and say, "Can I help you?" But he decided, you know, to ask her, "Can I help you?" And she very obligingly said, "Oh, that's very kind of you." And he carried her trug around as she planted some new plants. So there you go. That's my trug story.
That's I do have a question about the photographs, because we have professional photographers here. So if we look at this, and obviously this is a beautiful picture, what constitutes a great shot?
Helena.
I mean, there's not just one thing that constitutes a good picture. I mean, everything from the balance of the photograph. I mean, beginning with the the person. So Camilla, I mean, she looks pretty, she looks lovely in what she's wearing. She's got a beautiful smile. She looks comfortable. She looks in charge. She's in her own, you know, her area. You can tell that the person that's taking the photograph, that's Kate, obviously gets on well with her. You can feel the rapport. So you've got that side of things, but also just the way it's been shot in her garden, which she obviously loves. And then you've got the little angles that all work towards making a really good balance of photograph. And you've got certain bits that are more focused, then you've got slightly blurred bits. So yeah, I would say that's my thoughts.
Thank you for sharing that.
I always used to feel happy if there weren't too many blurred bits. I'm joking.
You're right.
I think, and it's a lovely photograph of her, and as you know, I think I said before, Kate, when she literally left William, not at the altar, but in St Andrews, and decided to sort of leave that sort of type of life for a while. She came to Kensington in London and studied at Kensington and Chelsea College of Art for photography. And it was always thought that that's what she really wanted to do, is become a photographer. But hey ho, she's now in the royal family, so there's some compensations.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you for giving that information about what makes a good photograph. I appreciate it.
That's good. That's good. And you know, we were talking as well about obviously cost of living and various things, and our whole hospitality sector that we're trying to keep going at the moment, and all these wonderful, beautiful places that we've got that we can visit in London, and not just London, in England. And I wanted to just mention really about the Royal Opera House. And the reason I wanted to mention this is, one, not only is it absolutely stunning and it's in Covent Garden, that there's lots of different things taking place there. And I was listening to the conversation and just finding out some general information about Bill Bailey. Now, Bill Bailey is very well known over here. He's a British comedian, but he's actually an all-round entertainer, and he won Strictly Come Dancing a little while ago. In fact, it probably could have been 2 years ago, in fact, I think. But he's fabulous. He's a really great guy, and he is going to be performing at the Royal Opera House, which sounds strange because he's a comedian, but it works. Apparently, comedy works really well within the Opera House. Obviously, it's the most iconic venue in the world, one of the most iconic venues. And he's going to be performing beginning the 11th of August. He's doing a whole run. So he's mixing comedy with music. So there will be opera in it. And I think in a way, it's a really good idea. And I think the hope is that it will encourage lots of people to actually visit the opera, people that maybe wouldn't have thought about attending various things. Because, you know, in places like Spain and Italy and various other places, going to the opera is like going to the football, but it's not quite the same in the UK. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's a fabulous thing. He's a funny guy, and it will be absolutely beautiful. Yeah, really great to see. So I hope to book, and then we can report back as to how good it was. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful place, the Royal Opera House. There we go. So that's just a shot inside, which is lovely.
Oh, I love the colors. I love the gold and how would you describe that? Burgundy? Red velvet?
Yeah, it's a rich red, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous.
Absolutely stunning.
Absolutely love it. And so much goes on there. I mean, you have so many performances, and you know, they do lots of things for children as well. Get children involved in the arts. It's phenomenal. And if people haven't been there, even if you didn't want to go and see a production, the bar and the area where just looking around, you can just spend some really lovely time just looking and having a bite to eat.
We do have a short clip as well.
Yeah, let's show it. I think it's just giving a sort of feel, because I want everyone to visit when they can, despite us obviously, you know, You don't have to spend loads of money. You can just sort of pop in.
Well, let's take a look. Wow, it's fantastic. Will our friend that you brought to the platform, will she be appearing there?
Yeah, I wondered. I think she possibly could be. What, Frederica?
Yeah, the mezzo soprano.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. When I was listening to Bill, he's actually going to have some people performing with him, and I do hope that Frederica is going to be one of them. So fingers crossed. Find out.
She looks fabulous. I've seen her on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Simon. Go ahead.
Yeah, a great all-round entertainer is Bill, and when you see him, he's the most unlikely person to be such a talented all-rounder as well.
Yeah, he is. But Bill, this is Bill Bailey, who we're talking about. He's actually such a good guy as well. I mean, at the moment, he's also going to be doing a huge long walk to raise money for cancer research. He recently had somebody he worked with who died, and he's not even started really fundraising. He's already got 35,000, and that's something that's coming up. So he does so much and does so much good. And so yeah, he's a really lovely guy.
Fantastic.
And there's a lot happening, I think, this summer as well. So and this winter. I was just trying to sort of find out the name for it, but I think it's called Let's London, if memory serves me correctly, which is a new scheme opened by the Mayor of London to actually promote London across the world. And I don't know whether you saw it on your American screens, but he spent $5 million going across America promoting London a few months ago. And I'm sure Simon will say the same about Scotland, although I think Scotland is probably a lot more popular for tourists at the moment as well. But as Helena will agree, I think as well, we need the Americans coming back. We need the tourists coming back as well to actually revitalize, our entertainment industry at the moment. It's starting to happen, but I think we're still only about 2/3 capacity to where we were, before COVID. Come on back.
I'm going to do my part.
Bring your Stetsons with you, and yeah.
and we can supply the smoked salmon. Yeah.
There you go.
And
Simon,
Ian will supply the wine.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a great show with Simon last week. And Simon, do you want to just give any updates about tourism and what's going on there? And then we'll go back to Helena.
Yeah, I was, it does not look like summer here today, believe me. I decided to wear this jacket today, a summer jacket, just to remind myself that it is actually supposed to be summer. Cats and dogs coming down springs to mind. In fact, I've decided that today the tide is not coming in, it is coming down. It's a trifle damp here today, but I've seen so many different nationalities today, car registration numbers and yachts and so on. We've had, I went to Oban for a meeting, and this morning in one marina, I saw French ensign, I saw the Dutch ensign, I saw Danish ensigns, and they're just coming from all over. Then on the road, I've seen Italian registration plates, Portuguese, French, German, Dutch, the lot. I mean, real cosmopolitan place just now. And there are a lot of people around. Just now, obviously, with the weather, well, the cafes and the bars and so on are doing a roaring trade. But there are sort of glimmers of sunshine here and there. And, it's not raining all the time. In the last few days, we've had some fabulous weather. And it's just so nice to see so many people out and about and really enjoying it. And a lot of people that I've spoken to, actually, the first time they've come here, and they say, what have we been doing all our lives? We've missed out. I mean, it's, we've got to come back, and we're going to tell our friends. So I thought, yippee. And yes, we have come across Americans and Canadians as well. And even somebody from Peru, would you believe? There were no marmalade sandwiches in sight, but this was one from Peru. And the marmalade sandwich story, I don't think will ever die. I mean, that's something that's got to be kept going forevermore. But yes, it's all happening here, and it's just so good to see. And all these new events are starting up again, or old events that haven't been running for 2 or 3 years. Recently, I was at the Royal Highland Show in Edinburgh for the opening of it. It was just fantastic to see so many people there, and really lapping it up and enjoying every second of it. This next week, we've got the Inverary Highland Games, which is a fantastic event. His Grace, the Duke of Argyll, who lives just not very far from where I am here, his Inverary Castle, which was featured in Christmas 2012, Downton Abbey. And it is such a beautiful castle. It's almost a French chateau type of style. And the Highland Games there are in the grounds of the castle. It's a magnificent place. And they've got everything from the caber tossing to throwing the hammer and tug of war and all the rest of it. Big attendance every year, and all the Highland Games now right throughout the Scottish Highlands and Islands are starting up again. And there's just a great feel-good factor about it all. So it takes the minds off all the other problems we've got in the UK just now. But there's just so much happening. And on the water as well, the Round Mull race, one of the best yacht races of the year. I used to compete in that for about 10 years in the trot. We won it a couple of times. And it starts off in Oban. First day you sail, race up to Tobermory, which is the capital town of Mull. Tobermory featured in the movie Ballymorey, as well as many other movies. In fact, it wasn't a movie for Ballymorey, it was a television series. The kids loved it. Now, a friend who's got a pub up there keeps on getting frustrated about sort of 8, 9, 10-year-old kids coming into the bar and saying, is PC Plum here, please? So he, sort of gruffly shows them the door because they're underage. But second day from Tobermory goes round to Benesson on the west side of Mull, and then the third day you've got the long leg round from the bottom end of Mull right back round and up to Oban, and that's always usually a tough one. But the second day, going from Tobermory down to Benesson, there's usually a little bit of mist as you're going down past the islands of Alva and the Treshnish Islands and past Staffa. And there's that little bit of mist, and there's always one of the boats has a piper on board. And usually the wind's quite gentle, and the boats are just gliding along with the spinnakers up, and through the mist you can hear the skirl of the pipes. It's quite moving to hear this fabulous event. So that's just been competed, and we get boats coming from all over. And I think this is the reason why we've got Danish ensigns and Dutch ensigns and so on flying today, because these guys have been competing, and we usually get a couple of yachts come across from the States as well. So it's become a massive, great event. Lots of big regattas on. All the yacht clubs are in full swing, and it's just the place is alive. Yeah, you got to come here and experience it. It's fabulous.
Yeah, sounds very exciting.
And the food's good.
Of course.
I sat today looking out over this desolate wind, and sitting in a place, the Oban Chocolate Company, and everything has a chocolate theme to it. I could sort of feel the waistline expanding by the second. And as I slurped this enormous, great big, almost like a bucket full of hot chocolate that had marshmallows and cream and God knows what all on top.
Yummy.
It was a feast.
Simon, don't keep on. You'll make me cry. I'm a reformed chocoholic.
I know you're tasty, and I was just rubbing it in. Tell you what you're missing, being down in the deep south. Oh, that'll teach you for leaving Scotland.
So I have a question for our audience, and I apologize if it's too simple of a question, but for someone who's never been to the UK, is it possible for them to take a train from England over into Scotland?
Yeah, you can't actually get a train from America to
I know. I meant once they've enjoyed
somebody will invent a
London.
tunnel for it. But yeah, I mean, the railway service is excellent. In fact, if I'm traveling to London, it's really my preferred mode of transport, because you can get on the train in Fort William at about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and then you wake up in London with a cup of tea at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're right in the centre of London. I'm just being attacked here by a dog. Just a minute.
I'm so glad you told everyone, because I really enjoy traveling by train. Oh my goodness.
Oh, beauty.
So beautiful.
So
Yes,
pretty.
You mentioned the magic word, chocolate.
Yes, and smoked salmon.
And smoked
Oh,
salmon.
she really loves you.
Oh.
Well, the last time you saw her, she was just a little puppy.
And what kind of dog is she?
Sorry?
What kind of dog?
Retriever. Golden retriever.
She is a golden, but she's so white.
Oh, she is. A dumb blonde.
A dumb blonde. Okay, because I've had a golden retriever. Very red. You have the
She's
dumb
not
blonde.
so dumb. She's pretty smart.
I know. Golden retrievers are magnificent. So. But anyway, on the train ride, I'm so glad you shared that, because I know I've taken the train in various parts of England and then over into Wales. So I'm glad our listeners know they can come see you that way.
There's good train. The trouble is, at the moment, they're actually on strike. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if it's still on strike.
Yes,
I was coming back last night or the night before, and coming into central London, into Charing Cross, one of our big stations in London, and the old Pullman. Do you remember? You probably wouldn't know what I mean by Pullman, but they were beautifully created opportunities where you could have an afternoon tea or whatever, and they used to go across to Paris, the Pullman, very, very famous as well, very expensive at the same time, but they were carriages that were produced, I suppose, in the 1920s, 1930s, and they've been renovated, and now they start this service again. So it was unbelievable, because people were coming off, so it was obviously the end of the journey at Charing Cross, but they were coming out, and they'd had this wonderful afternoon on this very old-fashioned but incredibly wonderful afternoon tea service as well. So, but no, I think the thing I would say about Scotland, it is wonderful. I'm half Scottish myself. I worked in Scotland for many years. And I think, quite honestly, I think the Scottish Tourist Board are always to be admired. I think they've got their finger on the pulse much better than we do in London at the moment. So I think we need some good Scots down here teaching the English how to do it.
I'm delighted to hear it. But yeah, I mean, the railways up here, well, the Royal Scotsman, of course, is probably the train you're talking about with the Pullman carriages. But from Fort William to Malig, we have a steam train that runs there on a regular basis, and it's just so lovely to see it. Of course, that railway line, Fort William to Malig, has been rated as probably one of the most scenic railway journeys in the world, and has been featured in just about every Harry Potter movie as well. The train called the Jacobite, but for sake of the movie, I think they call it the Hogwarts Express. So it's all filmed on that section of railway, Fort William to Malig. Stunning journey. So it's really worthwhile taking.
But I'm going to have to look up taking the train to come and see you, Simon.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're open all hours.
All right, I like it.
The reality, though, is that I go so far back now that I remember as a young child, probably 3, 4, 5 years of age, and I was so frightened of steam trains because I'd probably come up to about my knee now. I was that tiny, and these big machines used to come in with lots of steam and lots of noise. And I can remember one day my mother literally dragging me, almost sparks coming out of my shoes, because I was so frightened of going to the station to go on one of these trains. But it is magnificent, and the whole of Great Britain is a magnificent place to come to. It's like America. You know, you've got so many great things in America as well. You know, I want more Disney things. In fact, so I'm a Disney freak. I'm a Universal Studios freak more than anything. Oh, if only they would do a Universal Studios in London, I would never be out of it. You know,
Universal Studios is totally amazing. It's an incredible experience. So maybe you could put another bug in their head. Keep sending them emails every day.
Yes. But you've got a lot more news, Helena, haven't you?
Yes, over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about different places, I love churches, actually. I don't know how everyone feels about that. I think they just have such a lovely feel to them. And there is a certain church called Grimsby Minster. Now, Grimsby Minster is based in Lincolnshire. So that's obviously a different area again, more northern England. And it's quite a funny story in a sense, in that Grimsby Minster is a place that everyone visits, and people in the town were getting quite upset because the time on the clock of the church, and bear in mind this church has been there, it's a church for the people, and it's been there for sort of just over 900 years. It's a real sort of landmark. But the clock had broken, so it broken. Just something had happened, and it was on a few minutes past 12. So of course, when tourists were coming in, etc., they were sort of leaving feeling a little bit disgruntled, and they decided that it wasn't good for, for the whole place, and so they put in to get that fixed. Anyway, the bill for doing that was 50,000, and they didn't have that kind of money, and it caused lots and lots of arguments. In the end, it suddenly started working, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a miracle! This is amazing! I can't believe it!" But it came out what had happened. It's actually very clever, in that within the church, I mean, obviously a lot goes on, a lot of good goes on, but you also have the people that ring the bells, up high, which I find fascinating. Actually, one of the things I'd like to do is try that. Just the whole, I don't know, it's sort of, I find it almost, it's like a trance-like in a funny kind of way. There's something quite appealing about it. But also, you're exercising, aren't you? Because you're also pulling. It's one of my secret little things that I'm sure I can sort out. But so people came in because people were trying to find out what's happened, and it turned out to be two of the bell ringers that had got together. Now, one of them actually in his normal life made cheese, and the other young man was a student, and they were friends, and they decided, you know what, we've got to do this, we can manage it. And they fixed the clock with 2 cans of WD-40.
Wow.
This is no joke. So it was 50,000 versus 2 cans of WD-40. I mean, obviously within that 50,000 you've got scaffolding and all the bits that you probably to do it properly, but amazing how they got it working. And I just think it's a really fun little story. It just goes to show.
It's a great story.
Yeah, I think that's why it makes sense to get a second opinion sometimes, or a third opinion.
And I wonder whether that was your little joke, Helena, because when you pull bells, it's called a peal, and then you did a peeling. So I thought that was a rather.
Fancy that. Isn't it? I mean, I was trying to work out where the clock is on that. I think we have got some pictures, haven't we? And I believe, and there is actually a little clip as well of some. There's the clock, and I think you can see it says a few minutes past 12. So that's obviously before it was fixed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least if it stopped, then it's going to be correct twice a day.
Absolutely.
Shall we take a look at the clip?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very simple home sort of shot. It's something that I want to do it. When I see it, I just think, I just want to do that. Yeah, let's play it. A little bit.
Wow. I love that. It's not done by a computer. You have the real people doing it.
Yeah. Clampanology is the word you're looking for. A bell ringer is a clampanologist.
Bell ringers. Wow.
It sounds like a terrible disease.
It does. It sounds like cramps.
Yeah, what's the matter
Crampanologist.
with you? Oh, I've got clampanology. Oh, it hurts.
Clampanology. That's interesting.
Stay away.
Helena, I'm like you. I just absolutely love churches. I love, and in England, of course, there's so much history, and you walk into them, and your whole body just, you can feel the prayers, and there's something about hearing the bells. So I think I would be like you. I would want to have an opportunity to be whatever that word was that you said, Simon. But anyway, because when I go traveling throughout the States, there'll be a church that speaks to me, and I take a picture of the clouds in the steeple, and then I write a little poem about it. It's my own personal little thing.
Are there lots of churches, going back to the 19th century in America? Do you still find churches like that, or are they mainly more modern now?
No, well, especially in the 13 colonies, you can, because, the 1600s and so forth, they started building them. I think that one of the oldest ones is 1632. So in the New England states. But there's this new wave that's happening where people are really wanting, I hope I say it correctly, Byzantine style churches being built. And I find that fascinating, and they're really beautiful as well. And then, of course, you have the modern. But anyway, the British churches, because Simon, I haven't been to Scotland yet. I'm sorry. I have been to Ireland, but the churches I absolutely go into completely.
Yeah. We have a few churches in Scotland as well.
That's right.
we're not all heathens here yet.
No, you're not.
Are hale and hearty yet. But I mean, some of these old churches are just absolutely amazing buildings. Actually, just now, there seems to be an awful lot of them being sold and converted into some, magnificent houses. Yeah. But there are some absolutely stunning churches around, and the history behind them is quite extraordinary. I remember when I was about the same height that Ian was when he was scared of steam trains, and we went over to a place on the east coast, a village called Crail. It's as far east in Fife as you can possibly get, and it's a very, very pretty village there. And in actual fact, my grandparents on my father's side are buried in the churchyard there. And the church itself, the lovely red sandstone church. And I mean, I can remember this like yesterday, and I was probably only about 3-4 years old at the time. But just at the gates into the church, there's a huge big lump of rock with an indentation in it, which is apparently the devil's thumbprint. Was on the island of May. He'd picked up this boulder to throw it at the church to try and knock it down, and it landed just short of the gate, and the indentation is where his thumb gripped this stone. Lovely story. But also on the side of the church, there's some marks, vertical marks, and they run quite deep, and they're about a foot long. And these are where people used to sharpen their arrowheads in many years gone by. So the history of this church goes back many centuries. I don't know if they were sharpening the arrows to fire them back at the devil on May Island or what, but that's apparently what they used to do. So each church has its own little quirks and little bits of history attached to them.
There's something about going to an old traditional church as opposed to going to a high school gymnasium to attend church. It's a very different experience. We absolutely do have a comment. Yes, for sure. From Adam. Hi, Adam. Thanks for joining us. Hello, legends. Hope you're all well.
Hi, Adam.
Very nice.
Hi, Adam.
Helena, we have one more photograph of, I'm just going to use the keyword moon.
Okay. So this again is the Grimsby Minster, and we did speak about it last year about another church that was here in London, and they put on the most amazing moon within the church. It sort of lends itself, doesn't it? Sort of hanging from within. So I think this is Grimsby Minster, and that's the moon. But you can see the beautiful building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that the same moon? It must be the same moon, isn't it?
I think it may be. I don't know. I was surprised.
There can't be two of them, surely.
Wow.
How did they get it through the door?
It's deflated and it's inflated inside.
Yes.
You know, with the vicar hanging from it as it rises towards the ceiling. But you know, I think he's the only one who feels safe enough inside a church that he won't hurt himself.
Who was it that we interviewed from there?
Well, I was just saying to Helena just before we came on that the guy that we had on last year, and I can't remember his name for a minute, and who had the moon in a church in London, he's now doing another event, and he sent me this message, and for the life of me, I can't remember what he's doing, but you know, he seems to be this kamikaze priest who seems to like to do very dangerous things inside his church. You know, but I mean, last year it was wonderful because he was explaining, and Helena would tell the story better. He was explaining about how he put this moon up in the first place, and I think it took about 3 days, didn't it, Helena, to actually put the moon up?
That sounds right.
Because it's not inflated as such. It is actually a hard shell, but I think it's sort of almost glued together or bonded together. St. John the Baptist Church, I think.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So so this moon goes on tour?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether there's a business there and they're making lots of them and putting them in churches, or whether it is just almost like someone that's taking them around.
Isn't it French?
What, the moon?
Yeah.
No, I think it belongs to everybody, the moon does. Probably more American than anything else. The stars and stripes are planted on it.
That's funny.
It's Reverend Neil Trainer.
That's the guy. Anyway, so I will respond to him and we'll bring him back on again because he loves USA Global TV.
That's great.
So it'll be interesting to see what he's doing this year, but he's doing something at the end of July, so it'll be interesting to see what he's doing again. But he's got in fact, he was telling us last year as well. So we get invited to so many things, so many places. Sometimes it's hard to remember all the things you get told. But
I'm sure he was going to do a song, or have I just made that up? I feel there's something there.
I don't know. I'll check out the. I'll check out it's obviously something very exciting. I mean, he got he was fundraising as well, and I think he got something like about 25,000 people came to see the moon over a 2-week period. So I mean, you know, that they were queuing to get you. In fact, in the end, you had to get tickets to actually get in the first place. So it was just one of those magical moments, and people were fascinated by it, you know, at the same time.
It's funny, you know, because it's almost a synergy there with the Royal Opera House, because obviously, you know, with performing comedy in the Royal Opera House and also bringing in an installation in a church, it brings people in. And I think once people are in, they suddenly think, oh, I really love this venue. So it's that kind of effect. It's clever.
It's interesting.
And if I remember rightly, doesn't the Royal Opera House, it operates a policy where a certain amount of the tickets are very inexpensive? Am I thinking of the right place? And I think they're only something like about £10 or £15, something like that. There's a concessionary for about 20% of the tickets. You know, have to. I think it's part of their remit that you know, because a lot of the time, you know, opera is seen as something that that only people with money can actually go and see, and there are very expensive seats, but I think part of their remit is that I think it's 20 pence, and it's something like about 10 or 15 pounds to actually watch a performance there as well. Mind you might be joining in. It might be that close to the orchestra. You might be joining in. You might have to sing for your stopper, but.
Or you're way up there in the bleed zone.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Quick digression. I went to the Wells Fargo Center in Iowa, and Keith Urban was performing, and a friend invited me, and she didn't tell me where the seats were. Well, I kid you not, we went all the way up to the highest level, and you would look down, and I thought, I am just going to close my eyes and listen to the music. It was terrifying because it just seemed like it wasn't built properly, like it was dangerous. So I'm going to put it out there. I'm waiting for tickets to come to me for next year for Wimbledon. So whomever out there in the Wimbledon universe wants to send them to me, I'll take them.
And I think I've just had a news flash come in on my phone, literally, in the past couple of minutes. And you better book your tickets quickly, because British Airways have just cancelled 10,300 flights up to October, because they just can't manage the amount of people wanting to travel. They haven't got the staff. So they're just going to cancel 10,300 flights till the end of to the end of October. So it just goes to show you, at the moment we need the Americans. Come on back. The price is right.
No, there's method in the madness. They've cancelled the flight so Boris Johnson can't escape.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. I'm having so much fun. We have a show starting less than 3 minutes.
I didn't even notice. I'm gonna notice.
Yes. Let's bring them on this show. Let's see what she's saying.
Perhaps you could start a choir or something. And it might.
Yes, Cat's Chorus.
I do want to answer Irene's question. So thank you, Irene, for asking. This show is on today, Wednesdays, and it starts at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, right?
Correct.
And 4 p.m. British Summer Time.
And then,
so Irene, thank you.
5 p.m. European time for those in Germany watching us.
Yes, that's right.
And Irene, you can go over to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV, and you can look for the playlist titled The United Kingdom News and Culture, and you can see all of our shows there. All right, beautiful people. I hate that we have to go, but duty calls. So I'm going to just spotlight each of you, and if you want to share just anything that comes to heart with our audience, please do. We'll start with Diane. I'll go around.
What a great show today. I had so much fun. And everyone, make sure you get over to the UK, Scotland, everywhere. And of course, and you'll have a fun time.
All right, Diane, you were so fast I couldn't get your banner up. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Okay, sorry. Helena, over to you.
Oh, it's been such a lovely show. I feel like it's been a little bit of a while, actually, for some strange reason. But so lovely to be back. It's so lovely to be educating and sharing lots of lovely things with everybody. I do hope everyone enjoys learning. It's really good fun shining a light on all these wonderful places in England, in the United Kingdom. And we look forward to greeting everybody. Come back and see us. I know that we're going to be seeing Dr. JACALYN soon as well, so that's great news.
Thank you. And, I'll coordinate with the two of you, and Simon, if you're coming too, because there's a number of people who want to get together. So maybe we could all do something as well. That would be fun, especially Sam Shaker and Jazz After Dark.
Aha.
Absolutely.
All right. Over to you, Mr. Turner.
Okay, so I think for me, anybody interested in politics, keep an eye on what's happening in Britain this week, because by next week we could have a new prime minister. Things are happening so fast here. We're now up to 44 ministers who've resigned in some way, shape, or form, and I think it's a very exciting place to be in Britain at the moment. You never know what's going to happen next, but it is always enjoyable.
All right. Thank you for that. And over to you, Simon.
Yeah, on the ministerial cabinet, with the last one out, please switch off the lights when they go. But harking back to the discussion we had about the moon there, I just want to leave everybody with this thought. The sky is not the limit when there are footprints on the moon. And I look forward to seeing you again next week.
Wow. Look at you. Nice.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to Irene and to Adam. And Irene thanks us for the show. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Coming up right after this is fashion, travel, and fitness with our guest, Sarah Jillian. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for bringing the news and the culture and the humor and the hope and inspiration. And we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.